So today I want to talk to you about redundancy.
Every moment is a teachable moment.
Technology. Wow, I've had a week. I think Mercury's in retrograde, but beyond that, I have had a week fighting with my technology. And it started off with some intermittent problems. And I'm going to make you well aware that intermittent problems, they're so difficult to troubleshoot. Intermittent problems mean a failure of something, a failure of a cable, a failure of a drive, a failure of your computer, and they're never easy to troubleshoot. And typically they can cause you days and maybe weeks of heartache. And so I'm here to talk about the virtues of having redundancy. I have redundant drives and I have redundant equipment. And so I'll tell you about my technological failure of this week, which started off by having the spinning wheel of death. Happened multiple times on my computer, and I couldn't quite figure out what was happening. I tried multiple things to figure out, troubleshooting techniques to figure out what it was. But in the meantime, I had to actually cancel a client session because it was prohibiting me from clicking anywhere in my browser or clicking anywhere or even typing because of the spinning wheel of death. Once I was able to reschedule that client meeting, thankfully I looked into it and I found out, it looks like my Word program was trying to open a document. And so there must be some update going on with my Word program. Well, it didn't turn out to be an update with my Word program because the spinning wheel of death appeared again not so long after that. And I also noticed that I couldn't find certain files on my drive. After a few times of rebooting, a few times of noticing that my drive had disappeared from the list of my favorites, I all of a sudden said, oh man, it must be my drive. I went and I reconnected my drive. I unplugged it. I replugged it in because these are external drives. Okay, and connected in various ways, but this one happened to be connected via USB to a powered hub of mine that has been working for years. This is actually a 5-year-old drive. By the way, I love Lacy drives, you guys. I love, love, love Lacy drives. I will recommend them all day long to you. This is the Rugged Raid drive. They are just powerhouses, and I know I'm going off on a tangent, but they are amazing drives. They just hold that data, and I was really surprised because I thought, what's going on? Is my Lacy drive dying on me? Redundancy, okay? Not only did I have one of them, but I had 2 of them. I actually have 4 of them total on my computer. And I know you think I'm probably a little bit obsessive, but I actually do a mirrored backup on a couple of these drives so that I always have my files available. So just in case my drive does die, I can retrieve my files. Always a good idea to program in redundancy in terms of backing up of your files as well as your equipment. Okay, so if one of these were to fail, I could actually pull it out and use the existing drive and then order a new drive and then just mirror that drive back again. So I'm always safe. And in the unlikely event that both drives are going to fail at the same time, but I'm also backing up to the cloud, and I'm using a program called Backblaze, which I absolutely love. It backs up my whole computer in the background. It's very, very reasonably priced, and it does this without me even knowing it. And literally, I can go to the website and I can restore one file at a time. I can restore an entire drive at a time. So when I thought that I was losing this drive, I went to my Backblaze backup and I said, well, I want to make sure that I absolutely have a backup of that drive again, right? Triple backups, because I have very valuable family videos on this that I didn't want to take the chance on losing. And someday I'm going to be writing my memoir and creating my documentary movie. So guys, be on the lookout for that. I ordered from Backblaze. You have the option of restoring files. And if it happens to be like a 4 terabyte drive worth of files, it's probably easiest to just either use their downloadable app, which it has to create a zip file of all those files first, which can take some time. Or you can just order a complete restore on an actual drive for a really reasonable price. I think it's up to 8 terabytes of information you can get restored to you and shipped to you on an encrypted drive for just a little over $200. So well worth, I think, the investment in having those files as a backup. So while I was incredibly frustrated this week because of the intermittent issues, right? I was confident in knowing that I did have a backup. I wasn't going to be losing my files. I was only going to be losing them temporarily until I could restore them. And the other thing that I found out once I said, well, apparently my drive, when I plugged it into another port, came alive for those 10 minutes, right? And then it would die again. But I kept, every time I plugged it in and it showed up, I thought, oh, that's it. It's the port that's gone bad. I took my spare drive that I actually found, which is a 2 terabyte drive, and I took this cable and I plugged it into the 2 terabyte drive to see if that would work. And lo and behold, it worked. And I thought, well, there we go. It was the drive. Well, about 10 minutes later, this guy didn't show up. And so now my last troubleshooting has really come down to the cable. So in the meantime, paranoid that I am, I ordered another drive. So I did order another drive, probably, a drive with a backup and an empty drive, because hey, look, data really, or space I should say, is kind of cheap these days. So it's okay. I don't feel horrible about it. But I probably could have solved my problem by replacing just this little cable. When it comes to technology, when it comes to redundancy, have redundant things. Okay, so not just redundant drives, have redundant equipment. I have redundant headphones. I have redundant glasses. I have redundant microphones. I have redundant studios. I have redundant audio interfaces. And ultimately, I think this comes from being a girl who worked in technology for a large part of her life, in terms of always wanting to be prepared in case things break, die, or go bad, because there are never any opportune times for your technology to go bad. It's always kind of a bummer, but you can help yourself by making sure that your data is redundant and your equipment is redundant. So take it from me, even myself, who's been working in technology for, oh my gosh, over 20 years, I still get frustrated by it, but I'm happy to know that I have redundant drives and redundant backups. Make sure that you are prepared for your technology to fail or your hardware to fail, and make sure that you have redundant technology, redundant backups. You won't be sorry. For more business tips, make sure to check out my videos here. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next week.